getting a one-time lump sum, whether it's through an inheritance or whether it's an annual bonus, maybe it's a tax refund if we've overpaid. Those are opportunities that you can take, and you can identify some areas in your personal finances to really shore up.
All right, time for one final question. We have just a few minutes left. Mark from Cabot. My wife and I just received an inheritance from her father. He left her over $250,000. We're currently in our early 50s and preparing for retirement, juggling kids' college expenses, and trying to live our lives still. We've currently got $800,000 between both our employer plans and an IRA, $175,000 or so left to pay on the mortgage, and around $45,000 in college expenses this year. How should we allocate this inheritance? Boy, you are juggling, Mark. You got a lot going on there. Let me say this to start. When lump sums enter someone's financial equation, it has the ability to make a huge impact one way or the other, depending on the decisions you make. So this is a great question, Mark, to get some help and some advice from a financial advisor. Determining how to allocate is a great question. And this is a question that a lot of people are going to face in the coming years. We know that $4 trillion is going to be passed on in the upcoming years from baby boomers to the next generation. So this is just beginning, and that great transfer of wealth can make a huge impact on the next generation. So let's talk about Mark's case. A lot of info here, but we usually answer a question with a few more questions. What type of an account is the inheritance in? Because this matters. He left her over $250,000, but are you going to have access to the full $250,000? Have the taxes been paid? Because that's where it matters here, Tim. Prioritizing begins by prioritizing your goals, but before we do that, we have to know the taxation that is going to be applied to this money.
Right. We're seeing more and more of this retirement inheritance being IRAs from the 401ks that maybe their parents accumulated, because that was really the first generation that really had the 401k available to them. So we're starting to see more and more of the inheritance be IRAs. And with IRAs, the good thing is you won't get the 10% penalty if you're under 59.5, but that income, or every dollar you pull out, gets stacked on to whatever other income you have. And so it can be a pretty big tax burden. So we like to identify maybe a strategy to pull that money out over a period of time just to minimize taxes, because you're going to probably lose, if it isn't inheritance through an IRA beneficiary, and probably 25 to 35% of that's going to go to taxes.
Yeah.
So you really wouldn't have the full $250,000. Now, if it's in a non-retirement account, you do have the full access to $250,000. Again, you have to look at what are you working with, and then really prioritize what is important to you to use this money for. It's kind of a once in a lifetime situation. We don't normally get inheritances. I mean, it comes from our parents, and usually have two of them,
Right.
and usually the other one's already received the first one. So it's a situation that gives you a great opportunity to make a great impact to your overall financial plan, whether that's paying off debt or paying off the house, prioritizing the expenses for college, those types of things. But it is a great idea to sit down with someone and kind of bounce things off of them.
Yeah, I think looking at the other numbers you gave us, Mark, $800,000 in employer plans, $175,000 left on the mortgage, $45,000 college expense. Living in Arkansas, I'd say, assuming at your age that you probably are looking early 50s, maybe another 10 years or so before you're planning to retire. If you're currently contributing significantly to these accounts, you're in good shape. But it is important to build an income plan so you know where you're projected to wind up at your preferred retirement age. How much monthly income will those future assets provide? So you can find out if you're on track and if you need to use some of that inheritance to accelerate that. And then once you know that, could you use some of the inheritance to pay down or make progress on your mortgage? And is that your only debt, or do you need to hammer some more debt away? You could wipe out the mortgage, increase monthly cash flow, and potentially make college tuition payments as you go. So those are some thoughts. But again, working with a financial advisor and building that overall plan is really where you get those answers. Mark, thanks for the question. You heard the bell behind me. Time for our final thoughts, and Tim, we'll start with you.
I'll piggyback off this last inheritance. I mean, getting a one-time lump sum, whether it's through an inheritance or whether it's an annual bonus, maybe it's a tax refund if we've overpaid. Those are opportunities that you can take, and you can identify some areas in your personal finances to really shore up. I mean, whether it's to pay down debt, whether it's to build up your savings for the emergency fund, whether it's to save for a down payment on a house, those are opportunities that you can really utilize those lump sums if you do them right and take the time to identify where they need to go and before you just let them go. Because it's so easy to see a savings account just deplenish real quickly if you start going on a shopping spree and really don't have a plan. So, have a personal financial plan, have a budget, and then be able to take those lump sums that you might happen to get every once in a while and really make a big impact on your finances.
I see what you did there. You didn't think we'd answer Mark's question fully.
Not fully, right?
We needed to spend a little more time on it. I like that. My final thought is a reminder. Again, we talked about it earlier in the show, but we've got some live events coming up this fall. And the next one is protecting your family through estate planning. It's a workshop on September 17th at 6:30 at the Chenal Event Center, or Chenal Event Venue. If you would like to register for that, it is free. You can go to getreadyforthefuture.com/academy for that and all our upcoming events. And that is all the time we have for this week's Get Ready for the Future show. Thanks for being with us. A reminder, if you have questions, we're here to answer them each and every week. You can call or text them to us at 501-381-5228. We'd love to hear from you, and we hope you join us again next time.